possible grindage scenario. We'll see what's up. You know how these things go. We should have been probably playing in the pre-pre a little bit. So, okay, good morning. Yes. We've got a gappy scenario today, folks. And the market's been really on a rampage. It hasn't felt like a rampage due to like this few days over here consolidation, but we've been on a really big push in the last like kind of 2 weeks. The market is up in 2013 so far, at least the tech index, not the SPY and the Dow, but the tech index is up 17 to 20% for the year, which is for the quarter, I believe, the second fastest move to start the year in like the last decade or whatever. So, or second hottest quarter in the last decade. So that has been an interesting scenario. Now we have spent like 2 months of it going sideways. So really most of the move was in January. Now we've been spending a lot of it sideways. But you can see here that we are starting to come out of range. We had a whole host of kind of random, not random things, but we had some news pieces out today. Let's take a look here. We had jobless. We had jobless initial claims, continuing claims, GDP price index, all sorts of fun stuff. And so we've had a huge kind of influx or barrage of news coming in today. And so that's setting up the market for a nice little pop in the morning. We're up, 0.7%. We'll see kind of what's going on. And there's a whole host of stocks that are like gapping up right now and trading all over. And we did see a big run yesterday in the markets. I thought yesterday's move was actually the surprising one. We had the gap up and then we really rampaged into the close. And the market was hot yesterday, like across really all sectors. You saw like a big run in solar, banks, AI. I mean, it was pretty much across the board. You even saw, some of like this is not showing the tickets, some of even the little banks go in, like Wall had, right, a big pull. So let's first take a look at just the gappers and stuff, and then we'll go back into some of these macro specific plays. We'll take a look at the banks and the big tech stocks, because that's where really kind of the action's been of recent. So let's first take a look and see, what kind of PRs we got out there. G6 signs, license deal for fungal infection treatment. Whoa! To treat a vulvovaginal candidiasis. That just sounds racy, doesn't it? This thing's probably a turd. I'd pass. Let's see what else we got here. CXM, too thin. Now this might work. So EVGO does, I believe, charging stations, net loss rails, revenue increases. With the market kind of creeping up this morning, this is probably the type of speculative name that we might want to be looking to for day trades, not swing trades, for day trades. But this has got, you got a range break here, and you got some room if it starts to clear some levels. This is the kind of like when the market heats up, this is the kind of beaten down name that you really want to try to dig into. I'd add this. It would need a pull at the open. Like I wouldn't be coming in and shredding this thing unless it pulled at the open. But let's see if that thing holds. Dow, too thin, right? Only 62,000 shares in volume. Pixies. Man, I was short this thing for a hot second yesterday. Pixies, and it came in hot into the close. PYXS. You can't really long this thing because it's up too many days in a row. My guess is this is probably still a short. If it speeds up today, I think we could take it short. My one worry on this is I believe Pfizer owns 20% of this bad boy. So the thing is, sometimes when these things start to ramp like this, you do have like a little bit of a worry there can be a like a buyout scenario. Now it's a tiny little company, so like the odds of that happening are probably pretty small too. But it is on a rampage here. I think we speed up today. We'll watch for a little bit of some failed follow through, maybe around the 5 spot. We'll be able to take that down. Yeah, let's add it for now. Hey, JD's got some news out. They're selling some property units, whatever that means. China stocks have been showing slight bottoming patterns of recent, led by Baba. Baba had some news out that they're spinning off 6 units. So obviously Baba's a huge company, probably the biggest company in China, right? So we've got, this thing has been on a rampage of recent. And sometimes these things do that. Like they probably have all sorts of different businesses, right? Just like Amazon and their clouds and, all that kind of bullshit. So this thing is been on a really nice run. Now JD's coming in saying they're selling off some things too. And it seems like the market liked Baba's selling some things. So maybe JD's selling some things works too. I would add this. This thing's going to have to pull at the open, but you do have this bottoming chart over here that I do like. JD trades a little bit thick because the float on this is right in the probably, closer to $1 billion than $1 million. So you're going to need a pull on this, but this looks pretty good. Add JD, PSNY Polestar, third. Cole's got some news out here. UBS adjusts Cole's price target. Junk. Retail stocks stink to trade. They really do. Retail stocks are good, fine for swing trading. When they set up, they just stink to day trade. Rodney, what up, baby? Amy Excel, junk. This Oshkosh is a medical company. Hey, so this is, if the speculative names come back, right, you could see watch this 15 spot on FRC. That may take this into 16. Now, FRC, you can't buy and hold this as a day trading instrument. They'll at some point, either they're going to dilute themselves or they're going to get bought out for some really nasty terms. There's probably all sorts of skeletons in these guys' closet. You cannot hold this for more than a couple hours. It's just a day trading instrument. But today could be the day where it starts to pick up some steam. Watch and see if it holds this 15. We might be able to get it into, we might be able to get it into that 16, 17 spot, and then we'll kind of see what's going on here. Some of these other banks are looking very similar. Wall had a big push into the close yesterday, and you can see you're starting to kind of remount over some MAs and stuff like that. So I think Wall's probably a little bit of an easier trader. The float's much smaller on this one too. So we'll watch this for a pull. Man, that was a nice push into this. So yeah, let's add this. And then if you really look here, this is an hourly chart on, hourly chart on Wall. If you start to kind of speed up, you'll have to kind of come out of this, zone over here. And then we'll kind of see what's up. All right. This thing used to be like $80. This is another one, right? The reason it dropped from $80 to $5 is they've got probably all sorts of skeletons in their closet. So these are day trading instruments, right? They're not really for swing trading. Roku's got a range break here. It looks like Roku had some job cuts and possibly some other things going on here, but not many job cuts, 200. You got a level here. It's about 60, let's call it 67 and some change. Man, if you kind of crush over this, I think this one should have, this one's got room then. If it gets over this, then you got room really into the 70 spot, 72, 75, right? The high from February was 76. Like, I think that's what puts this into play. Remember, this thing used to be $600, right? So this is one of those names that just got totally beaten up off the warpath and the destruction of 2022. I think that's probably top of our list. And Roku tends to like ORB and do those kind of names, do those kind of things anyways. And these are all foreign stocks. Yeah, these are like foreign Swiss banks, right? And it's junk. Now, SQ's pushing out of nowhere. So SQ is, this one is tricky. Like, you know, you've really kind of, this whole gap started at 72, like you're already there, but you're at the 200-day moving average. I think that's probably not our particular flavor. Yeah, I think AI flag will work too. Hold on. Hey, these solar stocks, I don't know what the news was yesterday, but I think we do want to put these on the list. This SPWR started really pushing. I mean, you move like, right, 10, 15% really quickly. Then ENPH, right? These are starting to show like some bottoming, but this one is not very clean. It would need to get over the 50-day moving average to really, really trigger. But I think run looks the best out of them. You've got like a little bit of a range break that's setting up here. I think you're going, if the market stays hot, this kind of 1920 to 1950 spot is going to be, that's going to be juice-alicious. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, cool, Ronald. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, keep it through about 1950, and we should be good to go. Yeah, solar's been, that was a nice bid on it yesterday. We'll see. I haven't seen good back-to-back days in solar in quite some time. Like, we've had some green days, but they just haven't held. So I would take it with a grain of salt. Like, we really would need to come through that level and start to build out over there before we really get too ecstatic about it. Hey, these Bitcoin stocks, by the way, you should keep these on your list for the next few months. Like, these are bottoming patterns. Like, the bottoms are in on these. Mara Riot, you know, I think this Mara, like, if it gets over this range, like, that's probably something you might want to, right, tuck into the IRA or whatever. I was trying to trade it yesterday, man. It's hard to get in and out. This SIVBQ. It was really hard to get in and out. All right, let's take a look at this though. A couple charts that I like here. This AI's got a spot here. You're starting to come in, you get your EMAs like really tight up on this thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing right in the 28, 29 zone relatively quick. This also has a ton of liquidity. So it's really just, it's an easy stock to get in and out of. It's an easy stock to get in and out of. And that's like the big thing on these. So AI, out of tech stocks, AI is top of the list. Roku on this range break, right? Top of the list. Amazon, you've got a range break setting up over here. I mean, that's also probably top of the list. You know, this is obviously a little bit more of a grandpa stock. So I wouldn't say top of the list, but right, it's on the list. It's a little bit more grandpa stock, but you can make a lot of money even doing grandpa stocks, right? Because, you know, you can just, I mean, you just shred it a couple points at a time. They start to add up. Brian, I wouldn't worry about the GDP news. To go from like 2.7 to 2.6 is like still like, I don't think it, and none of it really matters. All right, let's add in a couple more over here. All right. I know. Jerry, you already know the answer to that. That was only an Indian would ask a question like that. Do you have any history of nailing stocks like that? Does anybody? That was an Indian question. What about this would say, hey, should we play this, right? Look at this like reversal. We got to leave that alone. You leave it alone for now. Hey, ETNB, this was actually a pretty orderly, I would say this is a pretty orderly pullback too, right? Tesla's at a spot here too, right? So if you're thinking about Tesla, like we've got a little bit of a range developing right around here. We should push through this. The key today is going to be like, does this gap hold or not, right? Does the gap hold or not on the Qs? Like so far, right, the daily charts are holding up for the most part, but we are in a little bit of a slight supply zone. So we'll have to be just a little bit careful. But we are starting to kind of come out of some things and speed up. But, this market has not always been, it hasn't been clean when you come into these kind of reversal levels. So we'll see. I think today the key is like the first pull. So the market will pull at some point, right? It was just like yesterday. This is how you want to do these on these gap days, right? So this will happen a lot. Like, see, the market gapped up so big yesterday and it starts to pull. And it starts to pull and it starts to suck in the shorts, right? Because and the price action was really nasty over here. Like if you look at this pull right here, like at that time, right? And you look at, like, say, Tesla or something like that, like when the market pulls like that, like these stocks drop down like 5, 6, 7 points, right? Like NVIDIA does the same thing. But when you start to see it, like, right, hold, and usually they'll come back into, the EMAs and when they start to grind like this, right, then that's your load zone, right, where these things start to work out. Netflix does look really nice, real nice. Yeah, you got a range break over here too. So all these tech stocks look really similar for the most part. I would add this FSLR to the watch list. Like you've got a easy spot here. If this thing cooks over about 219, like you don't really have to do much. That's just like a buy, set your stop, let it rock kind of scenario. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. All right. We've got the list. You guys know, what we got to do. This Redfin may come out of range. So this is more of a swing setup, right? If it kind of pops over, I go like 875. Use a dollar stop. You may see this thing. Look at this thing. Used to be like 100 something bucks. That's nice. It's more like an IRA type of play, right? It doesn't have the intraday range to necessarily day trade it, but you got like all this kind of upside on it. If it pops through, you can put a stop on our 50-day moving average, give or take. All right. Let's just go back through these, clean this up real quick. Yo, you can do MU. MU had earnings out yesterday, and you've got yourself a big range break that's setting up here. Semiconductors have been leading the way. Healthy markets, semiconductors always lead the way. They're the most capital intensive, so they tend to move. When the markets are getting crushed, they tend to move the most of the downside, and then vice versa. All right, we got Roku. VKT, said a little bit of an offering, 150 million. Bomb, ITCI junk. We keep Baba on the list. Remember, out of the large caps, Tesla, range break, Amazon, range break, Roku, range break. Yeah, we'll put these banks on too. We'll put these banks on too. For the regional banks, you can just use this DPST. Needs to get over the 9 EMA, and then wall moves the best. All right, let's shred today. You know what we got to do. All right, let's go do what we do, which is the do. AI, JD, second 6 windows, I'd go Roku. Roku, what do we got, bro? Going Tesla. All right, so first 6 windows, right? FSLR, Mara. All right, coin's been moving really, really well too. And then second 6 windows, set it up like this, and we good to go. And we got these little banks too. We'll see if this SBNI picks up. All right, rock and roll, peoples. Let's do it.